Hi, this is Shubi with a review of the Zoom Vomero 15. Been a big fan of the Vomero series because they always seem to deliver um, somewhat of a maximum level of cushioning you could get with Zoom Air and foam midsoles. The Vomero 14s were quite impressive because they actually managed to not go cheap and use the whole midsole uh, foam as it react with a full-length Zoom Air, and you could really feel the air working and moving. And I love this little elf-shaped elf shoe, if you call it elf nose. This little sliding, easier access curve is always welcome, and they got rid of it here for some reason. So that's another step back for me. There's some adequate heel padding around to provide some clutching sensation around the Achilles or the ankle. They don't have that here. It's just minimal padding all around. They do have an interesting heel cup. This is quite new. It's wide and low, so it doesn't obstruct, but it provides greater support. It fits true to size. I guess it has a little bit more room on top of the toe box compared to the 14, but that's still pretty low compared to most conventional shoes out there. The midsole is, it says Zoom X, but I doubt they used the whole midsole as Zoom X, possibly some puck or some parts in the heel. They have Zoom Air on the forefoot, but the Zoom Air is really pretty large, and you can actually feel that the Zoom Air takes up the entire midsole. So that's not actually good. You don't just want to be on Zoom Air, because you need to have some foam complementing it, working in tandem with it to provide some good chemistry there. So personally, just Zoom flat on my feet, not a welcome choice. Also, the Zoom on the forefoot, foam on the heel has always been the Pegasus. So Vomero seems to be losing its identity a little bit, so that's a little disappointing. Unlike the Zoom Air, you could feel moving back and forth in the full length in the Zoom Vomero 14s, or the adequate volume forefoot and heel Zoom Air that you've had in the previous conventional Vomero models. The Zoom, you really don't really feel it. I mean, it's large and it can absorb some shock, but only if you're a forefoot striker. For neutral or heel strikers, this is not going to be a welcome model. Also, the heel is pretty low. I mean, it doesn't start here, it starts somewhere from here. And I don't know what kind of foamy Zoom X they use. It's a lot more softer than what I've experienced in other Zoom X models, like the Vaporflies. It seems to flatten almost immediately as I set my foot in and I put my weight into the shoe. So it feels like it's really paper thin. So you can imagine the lackluster shock absorption or cushioning that it provides upon impact. So this looks like a bad prototype Adidas Light Strike, the initial ones that don't seem to work and was just too flat. That's how it feels like. So I would have preferred maybe a little bit less zoom on the forefoot with more foam complementing it. The outsole pattern is interesting. It's a change from the 14s, but not too much. Sort of like a dual identity there. They went back to the traditional waffle pattern. They're paying a little homage to the founding fathers of Nike, I suppose. Pretty durable, the blades are pretty long and the grooves are pretty deep. I feel like the traction is pretty much the same, not a drastic upgrade. One thing different is that the base is a little bit wide, and the midsole on the forefoot extends out a little bit as if they're outriggers. So if you have problems rolling your ankles, you can be rest assured that they'll provide great anti-lateral inversion support. Although I'm not sure if that's something necessary for a running shoe. What else can I say about it? It weighs about 10 grams more than the Vomero 14s, so not an upgrade, even though they use Zoom X, which I thought would be lighter than React. The insole is horrific. Vomero 14 insole was horrific as well. It's very rigid. It looks like Ortholite. It's pretty thick, but it's fairly rigid. Especially the top coating is very starchy, so it actually seems to neutralize or kill the cushioning that the shoe provides. If you switch to some softer Ortholite or EVA insoles, and you can feel a world of difference in the Vomero 14s and also the 15s. But I feel the 14s, an inferior product compared to the, I feel the 15 is not an upgrade compared to the 14. If not, it may even feel like a downgrade in my personal opinion, but its price point is pretty high. Yeah, it's not super breathable, even if though they have all these holes, because it's got an inner booty under the engineered mesh. Can't really say nice things about it. Yeah, disappointment.